Hi besties, welcome back to my YouTube channel. So in today's class I'll be teaching you how to make this beautiful butterfly kimono jacket. So if this sounds like something you would like to learn, kindly hit on the like button on this video and let's get started. Alright guys, to get started, I have my 2 yards of 100% cotton Ankara fabric here, and this is my crepe. So you can also as well use ashoke for this tutorial or any plain fabric of your choice. I have my tape and my scissors and chalk, and you will also be needing your stretch ruler. Next is to start cutting from the Ankara part, and to do that I'm going to put this aside to fold the Ankara. I went ahead to cut out my Ankara fabric and it is folded into two, just as you can see. So, and the length here is as long as to contain both the front and the back, because we are going to be cutting that together. And the width I have here is my hip measurement plus 3 to 5 inches of ease and sewing allowance. That's what you're going to be needing. You're going to be needing your hip measurement plus the ease and sewing allowance. Next is to move my fabric, just as you can see. I'll move it backwards, then further fold again into two. So we're going to be cutting the front and the back together, just as you can see here. So after folding, if you look at the shoulder, there will be no shoulder joining on this jacket. So can you see the shoulder now? Everywhere is sealed, just as you can see on this video. Next is to get the full length of my jacket, and the full length of my jacket is 40 inches. So because we are going to be adding the plain fabric, and the plain fabric is going to be 5 inches, so if you remove 5 inches from 40 inches, we are going to have 35 inches left. So I'm going to mark 35 inches and I'll be adding extra 0.5 inches for the joining allowance. Next is to get our round body measurement, and for you to do that, you are going to divide your highest round body measurement, which might be hip or your bust measurement. So in my case it is my hip, so I'm going to divide my hip by 4 and I'm going to mark that down, and I'm going to be adding my sewing and ease allowance of 3.5 inches. But if you want your kimono to be way bigger, you can add up to 5 inches, and I'm going to take the markings all the way down. Next is to get our neck width, and to do that I'm going to be using 2.5 inches for the neck width, but if you're in a bigger size you can use 3 inches. So for the back neck depth I'm going to be using 1 inch, then I'll make my curve, and for the front neck depth I'm going to mark 9 inch, then I'll go in by ½ inch. So I'll go ahead and slant it just as shown. Then when cutting I'm going to take it all the way down. So we're going to start cutting our fabric starting from the back neck depth, then I will also go ahead and trim this size. Next is to cut the front neck depth, and for you to do that you're going to open up your fabric just as shown. So you're going to trim off your front neck depth just as you can see. So when you get to 9 inch, you're going to take that ½ inch all the way down to the full length. This is what you should have after cutting, just like a normal kimono jacket. So the front is just open and all that. So I've went ahead to cut out my plain fabric. So this is a single fabric, so I'm going to be attaching it at the hem. So the length should be long enough to go around the hem of your jacket. All right, so the width I have here is 6 inches. Remember that we deducted 5 inches for the plain fabric, so this 6 inches I'll use ½ inch to stitch it to the Ankara, then use the remaining ½ inch to fold the hem. So I'll go ahead and place them right side facing each other, the right side of the plain fabric to the right side of the Ankara fabric. So at this point I will advise you use your pin to pin it down first before you go ahead and trim the excess. So after pinning it down, I'll trim off the excess you are seeing on both sides. So the same thing you see me doing on the back part, I will repeat the same thing on the front pieces. I am done pinning my plain fabric, so the next thing I'm going to be doing is to take it over to my sewing machine and stitch it down. Then I'll be back to show you what next to do. I am done stitching the plain fabric at the hem, and I also went ahead to give it a good press. So the next thing is to go ahead and cut out the plain fabric at the both sides. So I went ahead to cut out my plain fabric, but this time it was cut on fold because I wanted to have a very nice finishing. So you're going to cut 5.5 inches on fold. Then after that you're going to stitch it all around your kimono jacket. Then you're going to also repeat the same thing on the other side. I am done stitching the two sides. As you can see here, it is looking so neat and very beautiful. But in a situation where your plain fabric is not that much, you can decide to cut this side on a single base. So the next thing now is to go ahead and cut the one that is going to go around the neckline. So I went ahead to cut out my plain fabric on fold, so the length is as long to go around the front. So the width I have here is 2.5 inches on fold. Is 2.5 inches on fold. So can you see that? So the next thing now is to go ahead and sew it all around the neckline from one hem to the other hem, just as you can see me doing. This is what I have after stitching the plain fabric on the neckline, and it is looking so neat and very beautiful. And I've also went ahead to weave the rough edges on all over this jacket and also weave the hem part. So can you see how neat everywhere is looking? This is actually good for a ready to wear. So if you're using it for ready to wear, make sure to weave every rough edge. Next is to fix our pocket. So I've went ahead to fix one of my pockets with a pin. So I'll be using this to show you how to fix your pocket. And to do so, from the shoulder line you're going to place your tape just as you see me doing. So you're going to come down by 18 inches as your pocket length. So that's where you're going to be placing your pocket. So you're going to mark that in a straight line. So from the place you attach the plain fabric, you're going to go in by 2 inches to 2.5 inches. Then after that you're going to bring in your plain fabric, which will be serving as the pocket. So I went ahead to fold in some 1/2 inch inward and also fold the top of my pocket, and the width I have here is 6 inches of width and the length of my pocket is 7 inches. You're going to place it on the line we marked earlier and hold it down with your pins before you're going to stitch it down. So remember that you're only pinning it at the front pieces. Lift up the front pieces like so and hold it together with your pins all around. So now that I'm done pinning my pocket, I will also take it to my sewing machine and run a top stitch on it, then also repeat the same thing on the other side. While I'm doing that, I will also create my sleeve opening. So from the shoulder line, I'm going to come down by 12 inches to 14 inches as my sleeve opening, depending on the size of the client you are making it for. So here I'm using 12 inches. Then I'll go ahead and run a top stitch starting from that 12 inches and stop at where my Ankara stopped. So that's where I'm going to stop my top stitching. Then I'll also repeat the same thing on the other side. I'll be back to show you the final look of our kimono jacket. Can you see the final result looking so beautiful? Let me know if you're going to be trying this in the comment section, and also don't forget to give this video a thumbs up, drop me a sweet comment, and also share to family and friends. See you guys, bye.